So now we do residents' comments time. Can you, I believe, Stu, you put your name up first to talk?
Yeah, that's true.
Test, test.
You don't have to get that close.
Oh, I didn't even know it was there. Okay. Stu Seckler, Burial. Um, a couple things that ran across within the last 2 or 3 weeks, walking around the lakes. We got another problem that's coming, and it's usually doesn't take much time, and that's iguanas. I've seen three small green iguanas and one I almost ran over on Belleville that was about 4 foot long. So if we see those, if I've seen only four, there's probably a lot more. And just remember, they're going to start eating, once they start getting comfortable in here, they're going to start eating people's plants. And if you have, like tomato plants, they're going to start eating those. Um, and we're going to have to probably in the near future probably hire somebody to start getting rid of them because they're not easy to get rid of. The other thing I want to talk about is in phase one and part of phase two. I think we got to if you live there, make sure whoever does their gardening leaves a buffer between the lake, about a 6 to 10 foot buffer, so it slows down their sprinkling water, which is like totally bad for the lake, as well as keeps other things from getting into the water. And finally, next Friday, the 8th, we got, hope everyone shows up for it, if they live on a lake or near a lake. We got Ernesto Lasso de la Vega from the Hyson Control District, and he's the one who does the sampling for our pond watch and all the lakes the in our little community here. And he'll be here at noon on the 8th.
He's fun and outstanding.
Yeah, and this is his last year. He's going to be retiring at the end of the year, and who knows if the other guy is going to want to come out and do this. So now is going to be a good time to get all your questions out to him, because there's been other people that, like the guy who took over for those mosquito fish that Lee County used to supply mosquito fish to a lot of communities. Another guy took it over like 2 or 3 years ago, and he's not doing it. Or else we would have probably had him bringing in some of those into our lakes. So, like I said, hope everyone brings a lot of questions for him and a lot of people show up for it. If not, I think Vic is going to have it on YouTube or Zoom or whatever he's doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Yep. Yeah, 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Patricia. I'm Brad Feliciano. I live on 2660 Sunville Court. For years, we reported the overgrowth of invasive species and neglect on Sunville and Fairmount Ridge Common Area, clearly noting that it falls under HOA responsibility to maintain. Despite this, concerns were dismissed and not met with appropriate action. In 2022, the board voted to designate the area as a conservation zone, committing to quarterly removal of dead and invasive species. Despite this motion, the site remained neglected and the quarterly maintenance was not adhered to. We submitted photos, documentation, and multiple requests regarding ongoing violations, yet our outreach went unanswered. In April 2023, the board reversed its stance and classified the area as a preserve, claiming they would not take any more action maintaining this property. When we voiced our intent to seek legal counsel, your reply was, "You do what you have to." So we did, and our attorney's letter went unanswered by Sandoval. Rather than pursuing litigation, which would burden all involved, we submitted a formal complaint to Cape Coral Compliance. They confirmed the violation and mandated Sandoval to clean it up. Last month, you cleared the invasive species. Dead trees and dry overgrowth remain throughout, including an area where an alligator nests. Since Sandoval told compliance they would not clear anything else, we asked our landscaper to finish the job at our expense. This was done out of genuine safety concern for the children and adults who walk and fish in this area. In the midst of this, Chuck demanded the work be stopped, and we are now threatened with a legal letter and $1,000 fine. This is so unfair, and it's punitive against residents acting responsibly when the HOA failed to clear an area to make it safe. Clearing this overgrown vegetation to avoid an alligator is a no-brainer and should be done, period. We also discovered on occasions hidden tents, alcohol, and food, clear signs of unsafe loitering, which proper maintenance would have prevented. We serve this community on various committees, contributing our time and our goodwill. So we ask you, why was there no outreach, no conversation? A simple knock on our door could have opened a dialogue. We've never sought conflict, only cooperation and clarity to have the association maintain this common area as they should. This isn't just about aesthetics. Yes, it's an eyesore, but it's also dangerous, and it neglects, and creates serious health and environmental risks. There's pests, allergies, fire-prone conditions, and respiratory issues are tied to this neglect. We respectfully ask the board to reverse the covenant violation, commit to full compliance to maintain this common area going forward, just as you would any other common area in this community. Approach future conflicts with compassion, transparency, and accountability, and stop the emotional, financial, and physical toll this issue has taken on residents. We love this community and want to see it thrive. We chose to live here for its welcoming and well-kept environment, not to be met with indifference when it comes to safety, beauty, and responsibility. We urge you to do what is right, based not only on code, but on the values that make Sandoval safe. We want to thank the board for your time and service. We understand that you face pressures to balance costs, policy, and community. But what the residents in this area have had to endure to date is just not right. We hope that you'll do what is right and just. Thank you.
All right. Any other speakers?
Hey, Vic. Vic, are you on? Because I'm getting,
We're having an error.
you're having an
It's being recorded. I'm trying to
Okay,
record the watch this and try to figure that out.
I'll let him know.
But it is being recorded.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, let's do the roll call. Bill Simonelli here. John Elkins.
Here.
Dave Ott.
Here.
Dave O'Donnell.
Here.
Rob Purcell.
Here.
Stan Toro.
Here.
Here. Lisa DePatty is on vacation and will not be in attendance at today's meeting. Chuck Keel.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum and the meeting will proceed. I'd like to ask for a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from June 26th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
A second. Any discussion on the meeting minutes from June 26th, 2025?
Who's the second? Me, John.
John. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes from June 26, 2025, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Okay. President's report. Good evening and welcome to everyone joining us tonight for our July regular monthly board meeting. The school summer break is winding down, so on behalf of the board of directors, I'd like to thank the social committee volunteers and the lifestyle director for all the effort they have put into the summer activities for the youth of Sandoval. I have two items I'd like to discuss today before the treasurer's report. Blue Stream Fiber construction crews have been working street by street to do the outside plane construction for our new internet infrastructure. Their efforts have been slowed down a bit by the length of time it has taken for the city of Cape Coral to approve all the permits necessary for the project. Based on our last project report from Blue Stream Fiber, the permits are approved. Now we are waiting for the various utilities to complete the locates. Locates are those temporary colored markings on the yards and common areas that indicate where the utilities services are underground. Once this step is completed, you will see the pace of work picking up with multiple construction crews working to complete the construction phase. Two community volunteers, Frank Hennigan and Val Zielinski, are providing oversight on the various construction activities, keeping the residents on a street level informed, and working to resolve any issues that arise during construction. Actual individual resident service cutover will commence in the December-January timeframe after we have a town hall meeting on December 3rd, where the details for scheduling your installation will be provided. The Internet Oversight Committee will be sending out updates with more information as the project progresses. On the matter of 2668 Bellingham Court, the owners of the property did not respond positively to the demand letter that was sent by Association Counsel on July 9th. Based on the owner's response, Counsel filed a complaint on behalf of the association in Lee County Civil Court on Friday, July 25th. We are now waiting for the resulting summons to be served on the owner. Following civil litigation process, I do not expect to have any further updates on this matter until late August. I want to thank the residents of Bellingham Court for their efforts to positively engage the City Code Compliance Office in this matter. It is fair to say that we are all disappointed with the city's response to our complaints. As a longer-term issue, I believe we need to have a dialogue with City Council with what appears to be a shortcoming in the city code. With that, I'll now turn it over to the treasurer.
Hi, everyone. Okay, the 2025 budget, year-to-date income is above the budgeted income. Year-to-date house sales as of 6/30 is 26. Forecast for the year is 75. With this slowdown in the real estate market, we're probably going to be about $100,000 under budget for initial contribution. And the expenses are under budget. Popular Reserve bank balance is 364,158. Fifth Third balance is 4,276,313, and the year-to-date market yield is 3.11%. The total reserve balance is 352,321. I still need to meet with Popular Bank to discuss the issue we're having with such a low interest rate. The 2024 estimated taxes have been paid, and we've also this year we've submitted estimated taxes for 2025. We paid 2 quarters worth. One thing that's going to do is it's going to put us over budget this year for what we budgeted for taxes, but we should be in good shape next year. The coding issues we've been seeing are declining. This past month, we only had a few questions about some of the things that they've done, and the auditing firm continued his work through issues created by the prior management. We had a Zoom meeting yesterday with the auditor to go over some of the outstanding issues, and we provided him some additional information. So hopefully we're going to be able to bring this to a close. Year-to-date financials. Total operating income is above plan. Operating expense, positive year-to-date variance. And one of the things I want to bring up at this point is when I was putting together the operating expense in prior months, I was looking at it incorrectly, and it was showing a negative impact. But since I've made the correction, we're doing very well from an operating expense Reserve income is below plan, and again, I attribute that to the low home sales. Reserve expenses below plan and total expense better than plan. Major expenses, utilities and contracted services are slightly over budget, but overall the major expenses are below plan. Other expenses, reserve expense is below plan, like I mentioned. Professional service higher than planned, but that's due to the Blue Stream fiber. And with the door fee adjustment, the actual variance is only 6,564 over plan. Total expenses is 153,780 above plan when you include the door fee. The balance sheet, overall, we're doing very well. However, balance sheet's supposed to be in balance, and I have submitted an email to the county asking them why there's a $26 difference when it should be zero. The negative 343,670 is in a clearing account that came from Associa, and we're still trying to work that out. And hopefully that'll get straightened out once we are finished with the audit. Delinquencies. Delinquencies are coming down, but it's following the same pattern that it does every quarter. At the beginning of the quarter, when assessments are due, people don't pay on time, and then over time, the number of delinquencies goes down along with the amount. But total delinquencies now is 170, where last month it was 207, and the total amount due or past due is 137,927, down from 188,707. So we collected an additional $50,000 since last month. Reserve project spend. Through June 30th, we have spent $352,000 in 321. And if you see on the bottom, there's a yellow highlighted area. That is a reserve expense that was not planned. And I just want to keep track of anything like that comes up, so we're aware of it.
What is it?
That's for the
New
salt
salt
cells
cells.
for the pool.
Okay.
And that's the report. Does anybody on the board have questions?
Questions for Dave?
How far are we in the audit?
He's making progress, but there's a lot of issues, and I sent him a number of reports from 2024, and he's going through that. He said that next week he should have a better idea where we stand.
When did he start?
Back in March, I believe.
Yeah.
Is it a flat fee, or are we paying him per
A
month?
flat fee.
It's a
So,
flat fee.
so Stan, so the issue was, so we had an auditor that started earlier in the year, and once he looked at the books from Associa, basically fired us. So we had to start later in the cycle with a second auditor, which is who Dave is working with right now. And on that call, what the auditor disclosed is that a lot of the bookkeeping entries that were made by Associa are not reconciling. So he's having to go back and, for all intents and purposes, redo ledger transactions for the community to try to get the balances, basically our checking accounts to balance. And that's where the issue is, and that's where Dave spent the better part of yesterday pulling out every bank report from 24 so that he could cross-check every balance from the bank reports that we got last year.
I guess the question is how significant that is. Is it procedural or is it something major? The issues with all.
To me, it's major.
Well, it's major.
Major
But it's
in terms of amounts of money.
That I don't know yet because he's still going through everything, but apparently this was going on the entire time we had Associa where they were not processing things correctly from an accounting standpoint.
One of the other things that we found out that there's at least one or two other former associations that are in the same boat as us, at least that are precedent contract customers at this point. So it's very frustrating because right now he basically says he can't give us a qualified audit without being able to complete, get these numbers to reconcile. And so so we're working with them. We may have to end up paying him a little bit more money for the work he's putting into to clean this up. But once we're baselined, I think we're confident we'll have a pretty good balance sheet and reconciliation going forward.
No, sounds good.
So, any other questions for Dave? Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is the violation for account number 979-52660 SVC. Violation for destruction of common property. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I would like to make a resolution that this account be penalized $1,000 for this violation. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion on this violation. Questions? Yes, John.
I don't think the $1,000 is appropriate. I think what would be more appropriate would be a 6-month suspension of access to amenities and the resident gates. I move that we amend the motion to change it from $1,000 to a 6-month suspension of the amendment.
Okay, we have a proposed amendment to the resolution. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, Dave O'Donnell seconds that. Discussion on the amendment.
Yeah, I think the amendment should start at the time when the resident returns from their long trips.
Okay, any other questions on the amendment?
Just,
Yes, Dan.
I just want to put it out. What is there a reason why we're going right to 1,000, not starting with 100? We're good with that.
The reason why, because we're going with 1,000, because it's essentially it's a major violation. It's considered an incurable violation, just like the roof violations were incurable last year. So that's why the initial violation penalty was considered to be $1,000.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions on the amendment? So I'm going to ask everybody to vote on the amendment, and then we'll return to talking about the main resolution. All those in favor of the amendment proposed by John, please say aye. Aye. None opposed? Okay. To talk about the main resolution, Chuck, could you please share with us what you encountered on July 11th?
I received a telephone call from a resident saying that there was people in the preserve, workers in the preserve, removing shrubs, bushes, at which time I was in the office, Chris was not, and I went down to go check it out, and I found 2 gentlemen that said that they were hired by that house right there and pointing at that house. And said that they were hired to clean up this area. So I asked them to stop because, as you'll hear later in our agenda, we are very sensitive about people doing work that are not insured by the HOA. There's also a violation. It's not work that we, the board, asked to take place, and we had no control over that situation. So they obliged and stopped working, and that's when I went and documented the situation.
Okay. And then after I was made aware of this, we consulted with the attorney, which resulted in the letter which we got from our attorney, and then the subsequent correspondence that was sent to the residents. From my perspective, a violation is a violation. If someone doesn't like a tree in the common area, they don't have the ability to take a chainsaw and cut the tree down. This is in my mind, in my opinion, the equivalent of that. And as Chuck also mentioned, we have liability for ensuring that any work done on a common area meets certain standards from a vendor liability, workman's compensation perspective. If any untold issue had occurred during that clearing, it's not the residents who would have been liable. The association would have been liable because that is common area. So in my opinion, I think this a violation and a penalty is appropriate for this action. Yes, John.
I just want to point out, if we pass this, the resident has the opportunity to appeal it at the covenant
Yes,
committee.
as any other violation, they will have ability.
Yeah.
This will go to the covenants committee, and the
Right.
covenants committee will ultimately uphold or not uphold the decision of the board.
Okay.
Okay. Do any other members of the board want to say anything on this? Okay. Then I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the resolution as amended, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All right, thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the general manager's report.
Sorry, I'm taking notes. It's,
No problem.
okay. PM report. Okay. Well, after two false starts due to some tragic situations, the pool renovation has kicked off. As you can see, we've got the windows here. Got a lot of work going on, multiple contractors, and they're about halfway through getting everything they need to take care of. So we just give you an update on what's taking place. The water level is dropped low enough so get access to the underwater lights. They've been properly replaced and repaired today. The features have been sanded, they will be fine and repainted the next tomorrow and a couple days this week. The company's here and they've removed the majority of the plumbing issues that we have. It was discovered that there was more issues than we knew until they shut everything down. We have an electrician on site here to make the area safe so they can operate. They poured a pad, concrete pad out there, one of the two that they're gonna put in to maintain our chemical troughs. And things are moving along and it's hot. So it's they take some breaks, I don't blame them. But you know, we're hoping for some good progress next
Dave,
week.
could you move that closer to Chuck, please?
Too far away?
Yeah, it's a little bit. I'm getting a comment at the hearing.
I got a note from a resident saying that they can't.
Yeah.
hear.
All right.
I'd like to thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right.
So any questions on the pool?
How long did you say now?
We're open for 2 weeks.
Okay.
This is the end, towards the end of one, and next week is week two.
Okay.
We have a lot of electrical work that needs to be accomplished next week and a lot of plumbing needs to take place. So, any other questions?
So we're keeping our fingers for dry weather next week.
Dry weather, yes.
Okay.
I've said this many times, I'll say it again. There is absolutely no good time to shut down a 162,000 gallon pool. There's no time, but if you'd like, I'm happy to take you over there and show you all the rusty things that we can't touch while the pool is running. This is not something, this is a big project. I'll say it again. Before I was even hired here, this was a project that was supposed to take place. And because of that big wind event that we had, it got deferred. We've lost, you know, ability to attract contractors after that. Because, you know, with all the building here, they wanted to build brand new pools, not work on broken pools. So I know a lot of people have been upset with the timing of this. The kids are not in school, you know, blah, blah, blah. I will have to say the water temperature out there was got to be like 90 degrees. It wasn't refreshing. But again, you know, our apologies for the inconvenience. However, this is something that has been 3 years in the making to make sure. And the other side of the coin is keep your fingers crossed and hope it runs, but when it breaks down, you know, we're at the mercy of an unplanned repair. So again, I apologize. In other news from the last month, our compliance officer, Chris Harris, has resigned. Chris is moving on to bigger and better things. I think he wouldn't mind if I shared that he and his family have had their eyes on moving to Amsterdam. Is one of the reasons.
You mean in Holland?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
this has been like a 3-year plan for that. So, but we wish Chris luck in his new endeavors and a new country. But the good news is I have been interviewing for the last couple of weeks, and just this morning we extended an offer to a candidate who will be joining us on Monday. In place of Chris, I've been doing the best I can to keep up with violations. There are no violations this month other than the one that was discussed because the timing of everything, actually, they come due tomorrow. So tomorrow, everybody comes due for their first, after their first and second notice. So, um, at the neighborhood rep meeting, it was brought to my attention, everybody's attention, that as Ashbury Road had some cracks and some issues, which we inspected that. To the point where we actually had the underground pipes camera to see if there was any issues with the storm drains or waste areas there. Good news is there's no damage there, so it's just an erosion that's taking place along the left side of the road, along the Surfside fence. You'll see later in the agenda that we're trying to get some quotes from vendors to remediate the situation. And once we get approval to start working with some of these vendors that do not completely comply that have asked for waivers on insurance, we would, try to move to get some quotes. I really didn't want us to get quotes from companies that we probably possibly could not use because they did not have the appropriate insurance. Let's have these out.
This is for which now?
This is some drawings, overhead drawings, and road pictures of the Ashbury. If you had a chance to go out there and take a look at it. There is quite a significant dips in the road and somewhere close to 6,500 square feet of asphalt and curb repair. So this is not a little situation. This is a big situation. In a year that we've already spent a lot of money. So just wanted to go on record saying that. So with that, I don't know if you have any questions, but the process now is to go out and get bids and then present those bids to the board for unbudgeted approval. Any questions?
Any other questions for Chuck? I will say that I did participate in the second interview for the candidate that you're referring to, Chuck.
Yep.
So was very impressed with this young man. So I think we'll have I think our compliance is going to be in good hands going forward when this person joins us. What's his start date or his
Monday.
Monday?
Yeah.
Okay. He's a current employee of Precedent that is moving from another association. So there's
So you won't have
less
all the training.
well, internal training for Precedent and new employee startup is not needed. It's just
Was
so-
he in that position at Precedent? Did he work compliance at Precedent?
partly. He did that plus security services for them.
Like a hybrid.
So he doesn't need as much training as the new guy.
We'll need some training, on the software side of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on the other, the actual going out and inspecting, that's each got it.
So
Okay, the flex room, another thing that's broken. We're expecting delivery of the windows between August 15th and August 20th. We're currently awaiting floor samples. So what will happen there is the windows will be delivered. The next day the windows will be installed. The day after that, City of Cape Coral will come and inspect the windows. And then shortly after that, we'll get the flooring out. And hopefully we can get that. I'm hoping by September 1 is what we're shooting for, barring any delays. Um, a couple of other things we're working on. Obviously, this is budget planning season, so Dave and myself have been spending hours together with Brian and Jessica, working on the budget for 2026. And then I forgot to hand this out. Um, Kudos to Jessica again for doing all of her kids craft.
Mm-hmm.
They call her Miss Jessica now, so she's doing a lot of kids crafts because the pool was supposed to be closed or is closed. But on the other hand, she has a lot of free time on her hands, so she had put together a campaign for trying to find some new committee members. And she came up with this concept that basically shows every committee. And I'm sorry that this didn't get into your packets. This was kind of like we talked about this yesterday, and she handed it to me today. I think it's a good overall overview of what the committees are and when the committees meet and who's the liaison or who's responsible. So obviously this is kind of a late notice, let the board take a look at this if they want to make any changes. But this might be a good document for two reasons. One, an email blast asking people, that we need people on committees, but doesn't, have that blind approach to what's a lake committee. This actually gives you some definition about what they're doing. And then also we'd like to put this in the new owner orientation packet as well. So I'm not asking for any kind of decision right now. Mull it over, take a look at it, make any changes or edits. I think it's a good concept. If you guys want to go with it, you can get this out.
Sooner the better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll take a quick look at it. I think we can just give you, agreement and any edits by email to wrap this up, so we don't have to wait till next August, to the end of August on this.
That's great.
Okay.
If anybody here in the audience would like to be on the committee, would you have? No?
Could you forward me a soft copy of that and I'll distribute it to the board so we can do the round robin on it? Thank you.
That's it for me. Questions?
Any questions for Chuck from the board? Okay. All right. Next item is old business. We do not have any old business, just an old president. Okay, moving on. We have 3 vendors to consider a waiver of insurance requirements. Chuck, can you go through the Apex Asphalt first?
Apex Asphalt, we need them for two reasons. One, we had a water main break that we need about 40 feet of sidewalk put back in. And we'd also like them to take a look at Ashbury and give us a quote for that. The deficit they have on the insurance requirement is it's auto insurance. They have all the general liability insurance that we require. However, they do not have the $1 million worth of auto insurance. They have $500,000 worth of auto insurance, but they also have a $5 million umbrella policy. So technically, they don't fit into the requirements without board waiver.
Right. No, so let me make a proposal to, I make a resolution to accept the certificate of insurance for Apex Insurance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So, point of information, they have, on their certificate of insurance, they have a waiver of subrogation, and we are named as additional insured. The only difference is the $500,000 difference in auto liability coverage.
With the $5 million umbrella, that's just a mute point.
Exactly, but
Okay, you're right. We'll just-
we've got a policy that we got to follow, and it's up to the board to accept the variations.
Yeah.
Do we have any other discussion on this? All those in favor of accepting the certificate of insurance for Apex Asphalt, please say aye. Aye. Okay, unanimous, none opposed. Chuck, can we talk about the next vendor?
Yes, the next vendor, as we do our due diligence, when we're looking at all our current vendors, some of which have been grandfathered, but our physical trainer, I call her yoga instructor, she has been here for the last couple of years. And in doing a review of her, again, here we are with auto insurance again. She's required to have $1 million worth of auto insurance. She's a sole proprietor. She's a one person. She drives her little Kia here to perform classes a couple days a week. She has all the general liability insurance that we require. She's just has a plain old regular car insurance like we do. We don't have $1 million worth of it. So we're asking for a waiver so we can keep our strength and tone classes and gentle yoga going.
Okay. So let me make a resolution to accept the certificate of insurance from the K Team Group LLC. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the certificate of insurance from the K Team Group LLC, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I see none. Okay. Next vendor. Chuck.
Yep. The next vendor is actually a vendor that we've used before to put the front doors, glass doors on the clubhouse after as part of Hurricane Ian. When they did that, they did not have the proper auto insurance. We forced them to get that insurance and they charged us $1,850. As part of the budget for 2026, we are hoping to see if we can replace this similar doors, glass doors on the gym, which are kind of beat up. What we're asking for here is either we give them a waiver on their auto insurance, and I think they have $500,000 in insurance, or we accept the additional $1,850 towards which they would go out and get that insurance. The difference is $19,422, or add $1,850 to that.
I have a question about,
Well, can I make a motion first? So it's okay. So I would like to make a resolution to accept the certificate of insurance for KWP Doors Protection Inc. for quoting purposes only at this time. Do I have a second?
second,
Okay. John, what was your comment?
this seems almost ridiculous that we have $1 million coverage for small individual vendors like this. Why do we do this?
So last year we approved a vendor liability policy
Right.
that has certain limits, and these vendors from their classification fall into the categories that we voted to require $1 million of insurance. So one of the things that I want to do when I come back from my trip in August is to sit down with the finance committee and with the general manager and go through all the vendors that we've had issues with and suggest a updated vendor liability policy for the board in the September-October timeframe.
Like, one pony tricks like the guy that's doing the trivia thing and all that. What we don't need that much insurance for those people. So
Exactly.
we need to adjust that.
And then and part of it is, in fairness to the rationale behind it originally is that we're trying to shift the risk of loss away from the association to the vendor who may cause it. So that's why. So then it's the right balance. So as you see, earlier this year we had approved the vendor that did the screen for the outdoor movie.
Yeah.
And we've had it's been primarily around either a fitness instructor or a very small time operator. So it does require some more thought
Yes, it does.
and additional consultation with our insurance professional about this. And I think also with our new legal counsel, we'll get some, we'll get some additional guidance from them too about, maybe
In
best
the meantime, we
practices.
make exceptions where needed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I think it was important. I mean, last thing is that I think it was important that we put some very strong markers in the ground for major vendors, the landscape vendor, the telecom vendor, people that can have a higher degree of risk to cause injury to the community. So, or damage to the community. So, I think it's just striking the right balance that we're still trying to struggle with.
Yeah, you had a roofer fall off the roof, what, a couple weeks ago?
That was on the resident, because that's why we require certificate of insurances and workman's comp statements.
Peterson says.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, reference to the door, what doors are they?
This outdoor gym
On the, facing the pool?
facing the pool,
Why are they being replaced?
you're kind of beat up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, no, they definitely are. I just wanted to put it out there, that's all.
It's actually folds.
Yeah.
It looks like at some point they had different types of handles.
Yeah, they
on
had
it.
different handles, they replaced them, it stays open once in a while.
It's kind of
Is that
rusty.
the one to the workout room? No.
Yeah, the one to the gym facing the pool area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now, again, as Bill mentioned, this is only for the purpose of the quote. It still has to go through finance committee, board approval, budget, all that good stuff. So, we hope it makes it all the way through, but there's a possibility it gets to the front.
Well, and I assume you'll also be looking for competitive quotes too on this,
Yeah.
if possible.
Yeah, if possible.
All right. All right. All those in favor of accepting the certificate of insurance of KWP Doors Protection, Inc. for quote purposes only, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay, thank you. Now, there is one item in the packet which was not on the agenda, relating to an application to join, for a resident to join the Rules Committee. Protocol requires that if it's not on the agenda, we don't deal with this, so I'm going to defer this into the next meeting. It's not on the agenda, John. But there's the next Rules Committee meeting is not to the end of August anyway, so
They can go ahead and go to the meeting.
they're going to the meeting, yes. Yeah, I'm just trying to follow the rules. Okay. All right, that's the end of old business. Let's move on to committee reports. First committee report is the Internet Construction Oversight and Contract Compliance Committee. Frank?
Oh, right.
You went out in baseball.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I'm Frank Hennigan. I was a member of the Internet Committee that negotiated the contract. I'm the only full-time resident here, so by process of elimination, I became responsible for the installation of it as well. So we're at the point of trying to install, as I'm sure everyone here knows, the Bluestream technology into the community. So I'm going to tell you what our plan was to get this done and what we were required to do up to this point. Initially, right now there's two main companies that hook you up to the internet. One is called Crown and one is called Lumen. You may not be familiar with the contract, maybe you are, but in the contract we got something that was called we got both of them to hook up, and so Crown is going to be coming down Pine Island Road. Lumen is going up Veterans. So when I sat down with Bluestream, we decided that we were going to hook up to Lumen first, come through the Veterans entrance. The cable was going to go up the right side and follow it all the way up Sandoval Boulevard. And while you go up, you're going to have first, when you're taking it from the hookup to Lumen, you have to use a what they call a boring. It's a machine that goes down. They dig down 48 inches, and then they go under. They're going to go under Sandoval Boulevard to get to Somerville, and then they're going to be going down each street to to filter off from the main cable. What happened was there's permits, and permits come from the city, and you have to get a permit, especially when you're going underground, because there's water pipes, there's there's sewer pipes, there's power. So the city won't allow you to do any orging or any other type of thing till they put the permit in. So at that point, we had to decide what we were going to do in the interim. So we 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 looked at the condos, Somerville, and almost all of the entries for Somerville was in the front of the building. So in the back, as everyone here probably knows, there's no pools, there's very little shrub. So we decided that we were going to make the entry into the condos from the rear. So there was no problem putting the cable in. The city allowed us to do it because there was no power. All the power, all the sewers, all the rest were coming in the front. So we were able to put that cable in, and we were able to do what they call drops. Drops are so the cable goes down maybe 6 feet to 15 feet away from the building, and then it has a drop that goes right to the side of the building. And they call this piece a flower pot that they put it in, and basically the wire from the building goes into this flower pot, and it gets connected. So this way, if anything ever breaks, all they have to do is go from the side of the building to there, rather than going. We have, well, I didn't hit on this. We have a main cabinet as well. So when we were going, so if you take that line going up Sandoval Boulevard, when you what we were hoping to do was do this boring under the street over to Somerville, go around the back of it, place all of the cable in, and then hook it up to the side of the building. They wouldn't take it into the building. We were not planning on taking it into the building to start into about November. This should be done by October. And then we were going to go up to each street, and there's going to be a shoot off, and it's going to go down, and it's going to now on the houses. So that was Somerville. On the houses, there were pools behind houses. There were some entries in phase 3 where you only had room from like here to here behind it. So we decided that we had to go in the front rather than the rear, and that's where CenturyLink is going in now, presently. So the what needs to be done is you're going to do this boring, and it's boring goes it goes from like every 4 houses. So you dig a hole here, you go under the driveway for about 4 or 5 houses, and then it comes up again. The guys pull the cables, and they keep going. They call this a pass through, and every once in a while they have what they call a NAP, a network access point. This is where again they hook things up, and again we're going to have our main cabinet right by Calypso Park, right by the parking lot. So again, if you think like where we are now, if something broke, you don't want to have to take the wire and have to go all the way back to that cabinet. You want to have a short cutoff point. That's why they have these naps. That's why they have these pass-throughs. But because we couldn't go underground, we had to decide what can we do. So we were since the city approved, they go to each house. So this is manual. This takes time. They got to go to each house, and they have to do what they call spotting. And there's different colors for different things. So if you for power, they got like they're going to put a red line, and then for water, they're going to put a blue line. And this is so Blue Stream puts a white line straight down to say, hey, this is where we're planning to go. And then the city comes in and says, okay, well, if you're going there, over here is where the power line is. And then they have to dig down there to make sure they're deep enough that they won't hit it. So the city pretty much did theirs, but there's CenturyLink has a sub working from called CSIC, and they are sitting on their hands and they haven't come out. So we are trying to push them to approve that so then we can go under with the boring completely, because the city now is probably up to they did the permits for Vermont, Fairmont, Blackburn, Sunvale, Bellingham, Blackburn, uh, Greendale, Woodburn, uh, Wynwood, uh, Somerville, Sutherland rather, Sutherland, Hopefield, and so they're pretty far up. So the the uh, the sub for there's a sub for Blue Stream, and the sub for Blue Stream is called. Let me make sure I get it. It's Southwest Communication Solutions. So like around here, you won't see Blue Stream that much. That on the side of the trucks and all, you probably see the Southwest Communications. They uh, they're waiting, so they're trying to, they're sitting on their hands because they can't do the boring. So that's why you're seeing at houses now they're doing these drops because the city says as long as they approve it, you're allowed to go through. So the drops they only go down 1 foot. So they take it from the side of the house out about 10 to 15 feet to the middle of the driveway, and everyone probably sees these orange things sticking up. The reason they're sticking up is, first off, they have them up high so that the landscapers don't uh, hit them. But they can't fill that. So they're rather than do nothing, they're doing all these drops. So they have done the drops for all the streets I just named. They did it for Vermont. They did it for Fairmont. They did it for Blackburn. They did it for Sunvale. They did it. So they're almost all the way up doing that, but they're waiting. The reason that they haven't got rid of those orange things and put in what they call flower pots. The flower pots is going to go down around 2 feet. It's going to have something like the top of a mayonnaise top. It's going to be like 14 inches in diameter, and it's a circle. And it's going to be right even with the ground. So you probably have most houses have it from a similar one from uh, uh, CenturyLink. So the reason that that's up there and it's like an eyesore and we can't get to it is because this CSIC hasn't come in with these spotters, and they can't do the work unless they do these spotters. So today, so I had a meeting. Bill, myself, Chuck had a meeting because this was brought up saying, hey, we gotta, I'm getting a little, I'm getting to the point where this has become ridiculous. We gotta escalate this. So I squeezed the the software, this Southwest Communications. They went up their chain of command. We had in our contract, we had a consultant. We still do. So, part of this consultant that we paid for, he was excellent in negotiating the contract, but he's still on the hook for the whole installation. So we're going to be going to him to escalate this as well. But yesterday we had gotten a confirmation from the CSIC that they were going to put two spotters out today, two spotters out tomorrow, six spotters on Saturday. Now a spotter, they say, does about 1,000 feet, and 1,000 feet comes out to about 10 houses. So if you're looking from, we expected this to be done in October. So it doesn't take a lot of math to say if it's going to be 1,000, there's you divide if they average two spotters a day, you divide two into we got 1,425 homes. You got 70 days. So 70 days gets you to like the first week of October. So they have to come up with a minimum of two spotters a day. And what was happening Southwest, I had discussed with Southwest. I said, okay, you got nothing to do for today and tomorrow. If they start spotting on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 6 people Saturday, and 2 people Thursday, 2 people Friday, they'll be 100 houses ahead of you. Then you can start working. And as they're doing theirs, the other ones are moving forward, and it won't be a problem. Except I just talked to the guy today, and no one showed up for CSIC today. So the 2 people didn't show up today. So we're going to have to escalate again. All I can tell you is that Southwest Communications, in dealing with them, they're excellent. They're as wound up and ready to go as I am. I don't know if the CSIs, I don't know. I hate to have these conspiracy theories, but I don't know if CenturyLink is just sitting on their hands intentionally because we canned them. I don't know what's going on, but logically, you would think CenturyLink is going to have to pay CSIC, but in the end, Stream has to pay, CenturyLink. So, that's why I said if we go after Blue Stream, they're the ones holding the purse strings. They gotta pay they're the last payment one. So for whatever reason, at this point in time, the main reason we're not really moving ahead at, at any point has to do with these permits. And like I said, we do what we can. We're doing what we can as far as these drops, but you don't want to continue doing them because now we have to. Once they go through, like say Vermont with the spotters, we're going to have to circle back and go through Vermont again, and we have to go through Blackburn again. Whereas right now, like the condos are all done. We won't have to go back to them. We put the flower pots in. We did everything because we came through the back. But because we got to go through the front on all the homes, we're going to have to circle back doing this, and then it's annoying the residents again because we went down there once, and now we got to go back down there again. But we wanted to get something done to make sure we can hit the the necessary time. So again, I just talked to Southwest Communications again at 5 o'clock to make sure no one showed up, that they didn't show up late or something. So he's pushing again. We're hoping that that was just a 1 day deal and that they'll be here tomorrow. But I'm not going to sign off with my blood on that happening. But we'll see what happens. But that's the reason why you still have these orange uh, things sticking up. They would like in the condos, they were done immediately. No one even saw them. They just went up. They did it all at once and got it done. Southwest Communications is excellent in doing it. The only reason it wasn't done, and the rest of them, again, the city will not allow us to go. To take the risk of hitting any power lines or any water lines or any other thing. So that's where we stand at this time. We still got enough time. Like I said, if they come out with 2 spotters, we'll make the October time frame. And I'm hoping they come out with 6 spotters because there was talk that they were going to come out with 6 on Saturday. So the pressure we got to put is, have them come out with multiple and give us a lead so that, when Southwest Communications starts doing their thing, that, each day they're continually, doing the spotting while we're doing the organ. I mean, boring. So I don't know if there's any questions here.
Questions for Frank?
I got 2 things. First of all, you should be getting paid for what you're doing. Holy crap. Thank you. It's a lot of work, Frank. Um, my question is, how are they getting into, it might be later on, but how are they getting into the house? What are they using? Are they using CenturyLink?
No.
What they're doing now for the condos, they're going the opposite way. The condos, they're going in the back. In the CenturyLink went through the front, and the reason they went through the back for the condos was, like I said, there was no pools, there was no shrubs. It was a simple process. In here, they're going to take uh, CenturyLink never used any condom. They didn't have like a hard coated covering that the fiber went through. So they're going to take that over to the side of the house, but not to cause another hole in a residential house. They're going to, from like the ground, if you look at the side of your house, you're going to see pipes going up. They're going to use that y- to bring it into the house. So this way they don't have to drill another hole or cause any aggravation. But that won't take place till like November. That's
Right.
another whole team coming in.
So it'll be just like one port in the house to be split.
They're gonna have right now. If you, at least in my house, and I think it's in most. I looked at a few of them. If you walk, if you come in through your garage door and you look, you got some on your wall.
Yeah, the panel.
Right.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a separate panel right there.
Okay.
But it's gonna come in the same way, and it'll be a completely separate panel
And they'll be on their own
on their
line.
own. And they're gonna have a team I mean, they're gonna come in with a team to explain everything to the residents. They're gonna make sure that the speed is consistent throughout the whole house. So you should have no problem with that part.
Yeah. Every resident will have to schedule the installation and they'll bring the fiber into the house and you'll have to let the installer come into your house so they can finish the installation, turn on the Wi-Fi and verify that everything's working, plus set up the pods to distribute the Wi-Fi signal.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, right now the whole risk is just getting these permits approved, and I'm hoping I'm hoping they're there tomorrow. I
Yep.
mean, you just keep going there and you're wishing and hoping, but I don't see why they wouldn't be. I mean,
Yeah.
they're getting paid. I don't understand it.
Dave, you got a
Yeah,
question?
just a quick question. It might be for Frank or whoever knows the answer. I've been out for a bit, so I may not have seen the notification. There are some orange flags in many of the yards. It looks like they're marking utility markers, but it seems like it's ahead of time because it's in my neighborhood and we're doing all these other areas. Does anybody know what those are for and what
The rate,
You're on Varela or no,
case?
Case.
I don't know. That wouldn't be communications is orange,
That's not my.
and communications is ICEC, and
Yeah.
they haven't been doing anything. So this might be a different company. Yeah,
They're separate
Didn't
projects.
he say they moved the crew to Case?
yeah. But orange, like I said, the only thing that
That white line coming through Case too.
a white line, yeah,
Yeah.
white line is definitely Southwest Communications, but the orange is CSCI, and they haven't come in on anything. So
These
you
are
got
just,
this flag.
just to be clear, what I'm talking about, I understand about the white line, are just flags.
Yeah.
Okay, flag. So no, what they would be doing for this is actual paint on the grass. So I don't know what
I'm
these
not sure what
flags
those are. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Any other questions for Frank? All right. Thank you, Frank. Communications.
Yep, communications is, by the way, meeting every other month on the second Thursday, so we need to, I'll put a note in the correct.
Yep. Thank you.
So we have not met, we will be meeting this month and, should have a report for the next meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Our committee.
Everything's going pretty much copacetic. Things are getting approved, not too many controversies. I think we had for Saturday's meeting, we had 12 maybe. Last week we only had like, it's slowing down, but it comes and goes. It's about normal now. So.
Okay. Very good. A rules committee. The rules committee met on July 22nd, and what we are considering at this point is initiating a process for a review and upgrade of the governing documents. We have our next meeting scheduled for August 26th, where we'll be doing a Zoom meeting with our lawyer who's done that process for a number of associations to get some guidance from him and to understand what best practices are. And potentially we'll be coming to the board in the September timeframe with a discussion about starting the process for review and upgrading the governing documents. Any questions on rules committee? Okay. Social committee. Stan.
We met and it's committee's on cruise control. I mean the calendar's out there. Our Jess is doing a great job with the pool being closed. She's getting some different things for the kids and adults alike, and we're moving pretty good.
Okay. Questions for Stan?
I just want to add one thing, because it might create a lot of confusion. And Jessica told me to do this. Bingo will be held 2 weeks in a row this month. There will be no bingo on 8/20 or 8/27. I'm sorry, there will be bingo on 8/20 and 8/27, starting at 6 o'clock. So please make a note of that, because it's usually every other week.
Thank you.
Sorry, Stan.
Amenities gym committee.
Amenities, we're doing good, keeping track of things. And we are doing some proposals for upgrade a few of the pieces of equipment, adding a piece of equipment to the gym. So that we're working on that reports to put into the budget. So that's one thing. Other than that, we could use some more members.
Yeah.
Here, here. Any questions for Rob? All right, Dog Park Subcommittee.
No updates on that. Meet with these guys this month.
Okay. All right, Safety and Security.
You want me to read from here?
Please get up.
Good try.
I'm Ed Colorado. I've been doing this for 5 years. We need help.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a meeting on July 17th. We talked about monitoring the speed limit signs, well, actually the speed indicator signs for their effectiveness and slowing down drivers. We reviewed the Cape Coral Police Department patrols for possible scaling back to be good stewards of the resident dollars by maintaining safety for our community. Discussed other traffic calming measures, access management, and security programs for potential 2026 budget impact. We will continue to manage safety and security to the best of our ability, but we could use some more volunteers. I've been doing it for 5 years, and I'm the only one left, and Lisa's been volunteering for chair. The other thing we also instituted just recently was we talked about trying to get people to just discipline themselves and try to watch their speedometers and just be careful what they're doing. There's a lot of kids out there you may not see. So one of the things we've been doing is every month, I think it's 2 or 3 times a month, we put together a little reminder. And that's going to come out tomorrow. There'll be another one. So you'll see it come up in the email. That's it.
So,
Before you leave, are we getting readings from those signs? Are we actually know how many, does it
We
record?
will. I'm going to work on them this week.
We don't have any readings
I
yet,
don't have them now, no.
but we will, and like how many cars are speeding. things like
Yes. Well, we'll have a graph too. We'll put together a graph. It's got a lot of information in there. I just have to access it.
that. Okay,
I just had to get a computer, or laptop that's Bluetooth, but Windows. You can't with an Apple. So
yeah.
okay,
so I'll be working on that this week. I should be able to get some information back soon.
okay.
good.
Any
Any other questions for Ed on safety and security? All right, thank you. Lakes Committee.
We also need members, please. We've lost a few members recently, so we could use more members for the committee. So the lake maintenance vendor, we're in the process of changing vendors for lake maintenance. The previous vendor, we got them we had several contracts with them. Chuck did a lot of work to get that all consolidated, and they agreed to termination at all contracts at once. So the new vendor, Premier Lakes, should be starting in August. Was mentioned earlier about the presentation by Ernesto on the 8th at noon. There will be a Zoom meeting to call in to watch, and it will be recorded for YouTube. Shoreline repair for 2025. Obviously, we didn't get the contract in place and everything in place before rainy season, so we're waiting for a time frame from the vendor, hopefully in the fall, when the lake levels can come down a little bit. The committee will be working with Seabreeze, that's the shoreline repair vendor, on scheduling repairs for 2026, hopefully earlier before the rainy season. There will be no Lakes Committee meeting in September or in August, because most of the committee members will be traveling. The next meeting will be September 9th. I want to thank all the committee members that worked so hard, and Chuck, on reviewing several vendors and engaging the new lake maintenance vendor, and also working with Seabreeze to have a contract for shoreline repair for the next 2 years. And also, and again, we need more members, so please consider joining the Lakes Committee.
Any questions on lakes?
I just want to say that I think the Lakes Committee has done a fantastic job, and they're probably one of the first committees to be ready to do budgeting. They have their plan pretty well in place for the needs for 2026. Thank you, Jane.
Okay. Covenants, John.
Covenants Committee met. There were three violations on the table. Two of them were upheld by the committee. One was not because of a procedural issue. Evidently, notice had not been sent out properly. So that one was denied as it should have been.
Not upheld, you mean?
Pardon?
You mean the board violation was not upheld?
One violation was not upheld because
Yeah.
it was not properly
Right.
handled in terms of notice. Okay.
All right. Any questions for John? Okay. Finance Committee.
Finance Committee, as Chuck mentioned, we're in the process of putting together the budget for 2026. One of the things that I want to do for 26 is I want to allocate the funds to the months that we're going to actually use it. So for example, uh, right now for landscaping, we have that spread out over 12 months, so it looks like we're way under budget. But come November, December, we're going to start using that money for tree trimming and for mulch installation. So rather than spread it to 12 months, I allocate those funds for those months.
That's smart.
So I think it'll be easier to look at the budget and have a clearer picture of where we stand. And we're meeting multiple times a month instead of right before the board meeting. So that's it with finance.
Well, it's very important for things like the lakes because theirs comes at a big chunk, and you need to get advance notice of when the shoreline repair will happen in 2026.
Next thing is landscaping.
Before you go, any other questions on finance for Dave? All right, thank you.
All right, landscaping. I just want to remind the bulk residents that Juniper is coming through now, doing their trimming. And with this trim, they're doing a hard cut on the hibiscus. And while it may not look that great for a few weeks, it's necessary for the health of the plant. So um, that's taking place now. Um, they are going to begin the restoration from Hurricane Ian, and the first place they're going to start is at the island outside Veterans Gate. They're going to clean that up and put in some plants there, and then they're going to work their way from Veterans all the way back to Pine Island. They said they hope to start tomorrow, but weather or anything else can delay it. But you should start seeing them doing that in the coming weeks. Also, I want to let people know that Juniper is updating their work order system. It's basically going to work the same way, but they've made some modifications. I'm going to have an email blast sent out tomorrow, explaining what the process is and what residents need to do when they convert over. And it turns out that if people want, Juniper has volunteered to come in and do a town hall for residents. They feel they need the help with the turnover. Okay. And then the only other thing is I want to remind residents that personal landscape debris can't be dumped in the common areas. A resident was observed today dumping some landscape debris by the Happy Paws dog park. And you just, if you're going to put it in your garbage or something, but don't dump it in the common area. And that's about it.
Questions on landscape? Okay, thank you. All right, risk management. Risk management, as I mentioned earlier, in September, we will be reevaluating the vendor liability policy to see if any changes are warranted to be considered by the board. And in October, in conjunction with the treasurer and the general manager, we will start engaging insurance agents to start looking at insurance policies for the 26, 27 policy year. Any questions on risk management? Strategic planning.
Yeah, we need going on that.
Yep.
Find some participation.
Fair enough. Okay. The next board meeting is Thursday, August 28th at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I want to speak.
You do it at the end of the meeting. You can speak, Patricia. Okay, we got to adjourn first.
I'll second.
All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the meeting's adjourned. Any resident is allowed to address the board again.
So I just want to get over
Just go to the podium. No, I can already put it.
So I guess I'm confused about a couple of things. First, if you could clarify, John, you said something about not imposing $1,000, then I heard yes. Can you clarify what you're doing?
So what the board voted on is voted that a violation occurred and that the penalty for the violation is loss of access to common amenities for 6 months.
Okay, so you're not imposing the $1,000.
No, it's fine. But loss of amenities includes access to all common amenities and use of the residence entrance gates.
Okay. Is the board going to revisit maintaining the Sunville Fairmont common area?
I can't address that at this point. I'll have to have a discussion with the landscape committee about that.
Okay, and so I would strongly encourage you to reconsider that. And I guess for quite a few reasons. First of all, you said it was a conservation area. Then you neglect and you were going to take care of it. Then you said you weren't. Then you called it a preserve, trying to evade responsibility. Then the city asked you to do it. It's a common area. Do you agree with that?
It's a common area of the community. Yes.
Okay. Do you clean up all other common areas in the community?
There are some areas where we only do quarterly cleanups, especially on some of the areas that are protected by berms in the back end of the community.
But there is an area that is also considered a conservation preserve, whatever you want to define it. And we do not do anything in that area.
You're supposed to clear invasives. Go ahead.
Oh, I checked on the LIPA site and I looked at that area. It doesn't say anything about a conservation area. I looked into conservation areas. You just can't name it, that you actually have to go to the city or the state and actually apply to have that area considered a conservation.
So if you look in our governing documents, we have the ability to declare parts of the common property to be preserve areas. And we have to follow the rules of the preserve areas of the city of Cape Coral and Lee County. What we have not done is had that designated as an official government preserve area.
Right.
So there's a difference there, but we do have the ability in our governing documents to set aside parts of the common area.
And the city does say that you're supposed to maintain that area.
We maintain it, and when the city brought to our attention that we needed to clear the invasives, we scheduled it and did it.
We asked you to do that over 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And you never did. So we feel like there's such prejudice against us and it feels so wrong. And some of you guys are new, but these decisions were made a long time ago when we presented garbage in the lakes, garbage in the back. Dave, you said no one should be putting garbage in a common area. Yeah, that's a common area directly behind our house, and all there is garbage. I could show you pictures of alcohol bottles, tents that were put up, like I said in my statement earlier. And yeah, it's like no problem. You don't take care of it. If you had brought a pristine piece of property, and I have pictures to show you what it looks like now, and it looks much better than it did, but there's still bad areas there that are fire hazards because there's dead brush. I could show you pictures of the alligators that we got with drone shots sitting on this little piece of island that what was on there? Bushes. You talk about, you mentioned something about taking care of the tree that you can't replace. It was garbage. It was bushes overgrown. Brian has issues with allergies. He's been using an inhaler, a nebulizer, sleepless nights because of invasive properties that have been there over the years. If you hear my throat crackling, it's because I'm so upset about this. This has been going far too long. We bought a beautiful piece of property and I look at it every day. It steals my joy that I can't enjoy my backyard because I have to see garbage.
It's not
And,
just
and not, yeah.
It's everybody on that side of Sunvale and Fairmont. I mean, if you want us to get a petition together with all our neighbors, and say they praise us on what we have done, they stand behind us, but they just haven't showed up in a meeting.
So you said
Yep.
quarterly. Is it your position that you are going to maintain it quarterly right now?
So Dave, I do believe that Juniper goes through on a quarterly basis.
I had a conversation with Juniper yesterday afternoon, and I'm gonna go down there next week with uh, the account manager and walk back there and discuss it with them.
Yeah, and see how it's growing already. Now somebody's mowing it back there. I don't know who it is. I don't think it's you guys.
No, it's not, because that was always off limits.
Okay, but someone is doing it, and I'm so glad they are because at least it's a little bit better, but it's still really bad. And if it overgrows again, it's not good. You guys talk about liability. I'm an insurance broker and I know about liability. You guys have a huge liability. If somebody is ever hurt out there with an alligator, knowing full course that it was there, Sandoval is going to be responsible.
There's alligators in the other lakes here.
There are, but you could
Just
see
that.
them. You could see them. Hey, I know we live in Florida. There's alligators, but you should be able to see them. The fact that you're letting stuff overgrow, and if a kid is there fishing, and these kids go fishing over there,
They do now.
yeah. And we couldn't see the alligator. The only reason we saw it is because it was a drone shot. So it's it's a problem. I'm asking you again to please take care of it and continue to do it ongoing. Um, again, I reinforce, if you bought a prime piece of property and it happened to you, how would you feel? So when you think about this and discuss it, please consider that. It's okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Any
you
other
for your
resident
time.
wish to address the board?
Oh, and one other thing I want to know, Stan, I believe you said, why not fine 100 and why go right to 1,000? You know, Bill, it wasn't no tree that couldn't be replaced. It was junk. And I really think you guys have a vendetta against us. I repeat that again because I think it's wrong. And we want to live in a community with harmony. I sit on the committee with Jane. I played a big role in that part that was done back there. Try to negotiate a good price with a vendor. We were told in the committee by Chuck there were no other vendors out there. Yet I spent a lot of time finding another vendor to give us a good price and do a good job on those lakes. We want to live in harmony here. We don't want conflict. We're Christians, and I know that a lot of you wear crosses around your neck and are Christians too. So do the right thing. Don't try to be vindictive to us for whatever reason. I don't know. We never hurt anybody here in this room. But just do right.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Okay. Anyone else? All right, thank you.